Thank you so much. Thank you so much for checking out my stream tonight. Tonight we have a great topic we're going to be discussing. Tonight we're going to be speaking about IPOs. We are going to tell you what IPOs are, and we are going to tell you also what are the benefits of investing in IPOs. I'm looking forward to a wonderful program tonight. So if you could share that link to all of your friends, click on that like button as soon as you join into the YouTube stream. Thank you so much for that. And as usual, I want to use my platform to give massive respect to all of those small business people who have small businesses. I tip my hat to you. And for that reason, I like to reach out and ask anyone, would you love to get a shout out on my live stream when I go live? So tonight I will be shouting out a friend of mine. She has a wonderful store. It's an Instagram store. So check her out, definitely. So tonight's program is brought to you by Size One Stop Shop. They offer high-end hygiene products. So if you like to use your Dove lotions and you like to use your Degree underarms, and if you like to use Arm and Hammer, look out for that. Check her out on Instagram. That is Size One Stop Shop. And also, I spoke about entrepreneurs and the things we want to push and how we want to encourage people. She also has a second store that we will be highlighting tonight as well. It is called Size Kids Boutique. Size Kid Boutique on Instagram. Check her out. Wonderful. If you want to get access to kids clothing, this is where you want to go and shop. If she doesn't have it, definitely she will source it for you. And I can tell you, these prices cannot be beat, and the quality is also A1. Size Kids Boutique on Instagram. You check her out. You check her out. All right, all right. Tonight, we will be having a wonderful conversation. Make sure you reach out to your friends and have them join in, have them take a look at this live stream. If you're not able to catch it live tonight, you can catch it live when it will be posted on YouTube. It will be there for you. All right. With that being said, I am going to once again be welcoming my guest. He is a person that has always been here with me whenever I go live. He's the first person I can reach out to, and he will be there. Okay. So, without further ado, I would like to bring in Father Sin. Father Sin into the stream.
Yeah, man. So how you do?
Welcome, sir. How are you doing?
Not bad, you know.
All right, great, great, great. I'm just checking. I may be having a bit of feedback. Let me just double check to ensure that I have everything sorted. All right, all right. So, how are you doing, man? How has the day been for you today?
Quite busy, not to be honest.
All right, sir. Good, 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 good.
Yeah, and
All right, let me
the week has been hectic. So I was kind of short on time, and I only had like a couple of hours to gather some information. But I'm going to do my best still to ensure that persons will be able to learn something from actually tuning into the podcast.
definitely, man. Definitely. I know you have the information right there in your head at all times. Yeah, I mean, you're a natural at this. You are a natural at this, man. All right. So tonight we're talking about IPOs. We're talking about IPOs tonight. All right. So before we go into IPOs, we know many people may not have an understanding of what IPOs are and how they work. So for that reason, I'm going to hand over to you for you to give us a little bit of knowledge. What are IPOs and how do they work?
Oh yeah, man. So just to start off, IPO. What does it stand for? Right? It actually stands for initial public offering, right? And the name itself, you will if you actually listen to what each of the initial stand not initial, each of the words stands for, you have an idea what an IPO is. So an initial public offering would be the first time that a private company would be offering shares to the public, right? So what they're doing is that it's basically an exchange, right? Where they are issuing shares to the public in return for your money, right?
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and an IPO represents an opportunity for companies to actually raise money for whatever purpose they would actually want it for, right? And not in all cases, whenever a company is issuing money, no, I'm sorry, not in all cases where a company is having IPO for the first time doesn't mean that hey, it's the company alone is going to get the money. There are some instances where persons who would have bought into the company previously as
Okay.
private individuals, they would this represents an opportunity for them to actually sell the share that they actually already have into the company, right?
Okay.
And what I will be doing is that I will be actually going through this prospectus of a company that I IPO'd previously before, which is Fesco, right?
Which is repeat the name of that company?
Yeah, man, Fesco,
Fe-
Future Energy Source Company.
okay, okay,
Yeah, and for most persons, where they would have seen the company name is actually on gas stations, right? However, if if someone didn't actually took the time out to read the company's prospectus, right, which gives an understanding of how the company makes money and the business itself, they would assume that Fesco is just a gas station, which in truth and in fact, majority of the gas stations that have the Fesco brand on it, they are just a dealer-owned, dealer-operated gas station, meaning that Fesco, the company itself, along with someone who wants to be a gas station owner, right, put money together and start a gas station, right? But the the dealer, which is the person that owns the gas station for the most part, would be responsible for running that gas station, and Fesco would be a partner, right?
Okay. So this would be something similar to what is done with franchises like KFC and
Yes,
um. Okay.
yeah, and and in return, Fesco is entitled to some of the profits at that of that gas station itself.
Okay.
Yeah, and the company, what it does, is that it does a lot more because the majority of the money that they make doesn't actually come from the gas station side itself, right?
Okay.
Yeah, man.
So just to recap what you have said so far,
Mm,
when we're speaking about IPOs, we're
mhm.
talking about companies that actually offer shares to the public.
For the first time.
Okay, and the IPO would mean the initial public offering. So therefore, this will be the first time that they are going public and encouraging the public to buy shares in these companies.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
yeah, man. So,
So just to follow up on that for a second, why do companies go public or let's say offer shares to private individuals? What would be the reason behind that some of the time?
all right. So that's a very good question, right? Maybe they believe that this person. Uh, there's no specific reason, right? It could be that they believe that this person, that this private individual that they know of, they believe that, hey, I can go to this person for some money and offer them some shares into the company, and they won't be asking for a lot. Or there are lots of reasons, man. So there's
Okay.
no specific reason.
Okay, but like if they want to raise funds or to expand or so on, that would be one of the reasons why they would offer shares.
Yes,
Okay,
but
okay,
back to what you were saying about private individuals, right? It could be a case where, hey, um this person is like a previously unknown company, it's a startup company, and they're going to this big movie star footballer, this athlete, this sportsman, and they say, hey, I want you to help me promote my company, right? And they're saying that, sure, I have no problem with that, but I don't mind if you can give me a cut, or
okay,
yeah. And they
okay,
will say, like, no problem, because they'll see the benefit of having that person on board, or are helping to promote their company compared to them doing it alone. Because having 10% of $10 billion compared to 10% of $1 million, you get me what I say?
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Even though you're giving up a portion, you're giving up some amount of the company. What you should need to look at, is the bigger picture, where you're actually, even though your ownership in the company is less, the value of the company has increased, right?
Okay. So as a company increases in value, the shares that you would have brought also increase in value. So let's say, for example, you bought shares at $1 per
Yeah.
share.
Hmm.
When the company expands and gets big now, and the more the company expands, these shares now would be worth more. So the one that you bought for $1 is now worth $10.
Yeah, hypothetically, yeah.
Okay.
And what I wanted to do, is that I wanted to actually look at the company's prospectus, because if a company is going to be, um, if a company is going to be doing an IPO, it has to publish its prospectus, right? Which
Okay.
which is a legal document, and it gives details about the company, what it plans to do with the money, right? And also some very important information that you would actually need to consider it before even investing in the company. But
Okay.
let me give you an example, right? I've always said this before. If someone shows up at your house and says that, hey, Him show up at your house in a nice jacket, suit, and tie, right? Him briefcase, and he says that he is the owner of XYZ company, and he's asking you for your $50,000 to invest in his company, right? You're going to want to know what's his relationship to the company, right? How the business makes money, what's the name of the business, where is it located, how long it's been in business, right?
Okay,
As much information as you can. No, when a company is doing an IPO, some persons might just not have the time to read the prospectus or they just don't want to, right? But let's say that you decided that you want to understand more about this company, right? One of the places where you can actually find that prospectus is on the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website, right? So Fesco IPO'd about a year ago or more than a year ago. But what I can actually do is that I can actually go to Google and type in Fesco, FESCO, prospectus, and it will actually take me to the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website where this information is there. So what happened is that you would have, depending on who you have in your circle, right? You might hear from them that, hey, there's an IPO coming out for a company, right? And they might send you the link to the prospectus, or you might hear about the company and you want to know where the prospectus is. You can go to Jamaica Stock Exchange's website, because any company that's going to be listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website, their prospectus will be available on the JSC's website. Let me give you an example, right? I'm going to go to the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website right now. So it's jamstockx.com. Let it just load. And this is the website. Let me zoom in because my screen is about 110%, right? And this is the home page. And it would most likely be under view all featured articles, right? Because it's something that's pretty important.
Okay.
It's going to be on their home page.
Do you want me to pull up your screen?
Yeah, man. Sure. Go ahead, please.
All right. Great.
Yeah, man. Let me just scroll through. So let me go start back from the top. Jamstockx.com.
Okay. So we're speaking about the prospectus of a company, and this is background information that you're going to need before you decide whether or not you want to buy stocks in that company, correct?
All right. So not necessarily need, because some persons they'll just forget that, but just want to invest in this company IPO because me or my friend invest in one company IPO and the money double in a couple of days. Someone do it too. So they don't say us.
And trust me, this is how I believe most people do it, based on word of mouth. I have, these are some of the companies that my friend has on his portfolio, and I want to also start to rake in some of the funds that he's raking in. So yeah.
Yeah, me understand that, man, definitely. But here's the thing, though. Not all IPOs are created equal, because I've seen cases where companies have IPO'd before, they've listed on the stock market, and the share price does not necessarily double. As a matter of fact, it went in the opposite direction. So it's not a guarantee that, hey, once there's an IPO and you invest in it, your money is going to double, or you're going to make a return on your money. That's not necessarily the case. It's just that it has happened quite often. So persons have gotten used to that idea.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm now on the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website, right? It's called jamstockx.com.
That's jamstockx.com.
Yeah.
All right.
And a company's
All right.
on their own page. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying I lost you for a second there, so I was just checking out.
Yeah, man. And it's going to be listed on the companies on their homepage. As a matter of fact, you can let me type in so Eddie Foka was a company that IPO'd last week. Let me see if I can type in Eddie Foka here and hit search and see what comes up in the search bar.
Okay.
Let me go to newsroom.
So these are companies that would have been so question, if you follow the Jamaica Stock Exchange's website,
Mhm.
how often on your experience, based on your experience, how often do we have companies going public, offering IPOs? Let's say once a month, twice a month, you would have a new company going public, or would it be more frequent than that?
All right, I'm gonna be honest, right? I would say every year rather than once a month, because there are cases where a month has passed and a company hasn't gone public before. So,
Okay.
so in my experience, every year,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm gonna go on the hold on, so here I'm gonna hit search.
Okay.
It will come up here at the focal. Give me a minute. I just wanted to actually go through the process, just like with anyone that been visiting the website for the first time, they can actually have an idea to say, hey, I saw where I went here, here, and did that. So I can actually go ahead and do that, right?
Okay.
All right. So here at the bottom here it says Edifocal Limited Junior Market Prospectus, right?
Okay.
Yeah. But
And
go ahead.
the prospectus, the information the prospectus gives you is information on the company and how they have been performing over years. Is that what it basically does?
That is also included, but it also tells you what the company intends to do with the money and how many shares is offered to the public, right? At what price, and also the different pool of shares that is making available, because it could be a case where like, hey, we have certain shares reserved for these categories of persons, and for example, you might have some for employees, you might have some for key partners that the company is working with, you might have some for the general public, right?
Okay.
hmm So, but for tonight's discussion, we're not going to be going through Edifocal, but FESCO, right?
Okay.
So this is the prospectus for FESCO, right? So here it says combined initial public offering and offer for sale, right? And on the introduction on page one, it says invitation for subscription of 300 million newly issued shares, right? Priced at 80 cents each, and a sale of 200 million existing ordinary shares by the selling shareholders priced at 80 cents each. So what you understand here, so a total of 500 million shares are being offered to the public, right?
Okay.
300 million new shares which the company would have created and are issuing, plus persons who have been shareholders in the company before, they are selling either some or all of their shares to the public, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And there are also some key dates that you need to bear in mind, but I am going to discuss that further down, right?
Okay. Great. Great.
So what you see here is that you're seeing here where on the 16th of May, 16th of February 2021, that's when the prospectus would have been made public, but just 9 days later, that's where the invitation opens, right? So what
Okay.
yeah, so that's basically the opening date when not necessarily that is open to the public, because persons can apply for shares into the company's IPO before the opening date. And the rule of thumb is that you should always try to apply for the company shares before the opening date, because companies, they'll open the invitation like at 9 a.m. as it says here, and by at 9:01 it closes. You know why?
The people, well, many would have been sold out before it was actually open.
Yeah, something like that, right? So applications would have been sent in for the company shares prior to the opening date, but once they've started once they've done all their tabulation, they would have already gotten enough offers already for the amount of shares they're offering, so they just close it after 1 second after. So it's like you would have said, "Oh, I'm seeing where it closes on March 3rd, so I have about more than a week to actually go ahead and apply for it." But then you would have seen or heard that it an opening day 1 second after or a minute after it just closes.
I think that happened to a company that I think went public. I think it was sometime in the last year or the year before,
Yeah,
because I had interest in that company. I totally forget the name of the company now. But however,
yeah.
it was impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And after like the first day or so,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was sold out within maybe 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, for example, some really big companies like Wigton Wing Farm or Trans
Yes.
Jamaica, where those large IPOs where possibly billions of shares are being issued. Now those are highly likely to be open to the open for more than a day. And
Yeah.
sometimes they might have a situation where they want to ensure as much person as possible get to apply for the company shares. So they'll try to have the invitation open for as long as possible.
Okay. Okay. And by doing that, would they sometimes also limit the amount of shares? Do companies sometimes limit the amount of shares that you can purchase?
No, they don't actually. No, what they have is like what they would have is like a minimum. Like they would say, like, for example, let me see if I can find one here.
Okay. So, for example, you'd have to buy at least 500,000 shares, for example.
What they will do is that they will probably say like 1,000, like 1,000. Let me see if I can find it here. Like for example, on this screen here, it says minimum subscription. So it's saying applicants must request a minimum of
One.
1,000 shares, which it means that it's 1,000 shares at 80 cents a piece, which is basically
That,
$800 plus a small fee of application fee of $163 and some cents.
okay.
So for less than $1,000, they can own 1,000 shares in a company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange that's going public.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And yeah, man. So there is no excuse for the regular man up on the roadside to say, yo, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
after rich because see how easy it is. So I
Ex-
require the small and see the small amount of money they actually require to invest in a company though.
Exactly. And one question I wanted to ask you,
Mm,
what would you say
mm.
is the major factor that determines the movement of share prices when companies go public?
Um, there are a number of factors, right? For example, if a small amount of shares are being offered to the public, like maybe, like for example, Eddie Focal, I think there was about 68 million shares was being offered to the public, and the type of company it is, and the profitability of the company, and because persons would have applied and they wouldn't have gotten the amount of shares they would have wanted, right? They would from the IPO, right? They would then decide that once it gets listed on the stock exchange and starts trading, I'm going to buy some more because I want more shares. Like for example, maybe you're saying to yourself, Damien, that hey, I'm going to buy some shares in this company for my son, right, or my cousin, or my grandkids, right? And I need about it's $1 per share. Or you're saying that hey, I want 100,000 or a million, right? And when you apply, you only got a small amount, like maybe 10,000 out of the 100,000 that you want. You say to yourself that all right, once it gets listed on the stock exchange on the date that they said, and it starts trading, I'm going to try to buy the additional 90,000 units, so I can have that 100,000 for your whether it's your child or your cousin or whatever.
Yes, yes.
I say, all right, that's for them college tuition. So they're maybe they're 1 year old or 5 year old, and you say, all right, by the time they're 80, they'll go to college. So you're gonna tell yourself that hey, this $100,000 that I'm investing into this company, when once they're 18, I will sell those shares, and whatever money that I make, I'll use it to pay their college tuition. So what happens is that persons what happens is that persons who have the shares are going to want to sell those shares, right? And you're going to want to buy it, and they're going to set their price that they want to sell it for, right?
Okay.
What happens is
Okay.
that a company's the highest that a company's share price can increase in in a day is I think is about a 30%. So what might happen is that you might look and you realize that the lowest someone is selling it for, or you would have bought the company at $1 per share, right?
Yes.
And when you look on the first day, someone is selling it for maybe $1.30, right? At, and that's the lowest it's being sold for. You might decide to say, hey, that's okay. I want to buy it because it's for you know what you're buying it for. You know what your goal is, which is for
Long
college
term.
tuition. Yeah. So you just decide to say, hey, I'm going to buy that company share at $1.30. And because there's demand for it, persons will price it at sell it at a certain price.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But but so let me go back up to the top and where I was earlier, right? So right here it says the company invites applicants on behalf of the selling shareholders for the 500 million shares specified in the invitation, of which 300,000 are newly issued shares, right? And not 300,000, 300 million, and 200 million are being sold by the selling shareholders, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and it's saying that up to 325 million are reserved for priority applications from the applicants. So there are three pools for that up to 325 million, right? There's a pool called the broker reserve pool, there's a key partner reserve pool, and there's an employee reserve pool, right?
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. And you will also see where down here it says if any of the reserved shares are not subscribed for or purchased by the petitions entitled to them, they will become available for subscription or purchased by the general public. So what that means, Damon, is that let me scroll down to where I'm gonna show you later on what I mean. So let's say, for example, they let me show you down here. So this is the different pools that they have, right? So of the three of the 325 million up to 325 million, the the key partner pool has 125 million available, right? So they're saying that if they make this 125 million shares available for key partners, and if it is not that all those shares are applied for, whatever is remaining, it will go to the general public pool down here for sale.
Okay. So what I'm understanding from this is
Mhm.
um going public does not automatically mean that you are now listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Yes, because what happening is that whenever these companies are going public, they normally specify a minimum amount of money that they would like to raise from the
From the IPO.
yes before they're listed. And if it is that they would say like if it is that they don't meet this minimum amount, they'll not go through with the getting listed on the stock exchange because these companies would have crunched the numbers and say, all right, this is the amount of money that we need in order to do what we want. And if they don't get that to them, they would say like it doesn't make any sense, right?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
But
So what they're
however, the people who would have purchased these shares
mhm.
do have the shares within the company, so their investment is safe. However, it is not open to the general public to buy as yet because it is not on the stock exchange.
Let me tell you, it is available to the general public when it's being IPO'd. It's just that this would have been the first time, and then when it gets listed on the stock exchange, you have um more opportunity, you have additional opportunity to buy it then.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
That's so that what some persons refer to an IPO as is the primary market, meaning that would have been the first time ever someone will get to buy shares into a company. And when it gets listed on the stock exchange and available for sale again, they refer to that as the secondary market because that represents your second chance, right, of buying shares into that said company.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So these are, if you realize you have different pools for certain persons, right? So what you're if I, for example, if I decided that I wanted some shares in Fesco, what we will be applying for is this pool of 175 million shares. That's what we'll be applying for as the general public.
For the general public. All right.
Yeah.
Before you go ahead, before you go on a bit further,
Mm.
guys in the chat, please go ahead and hit that like button if you have not subscribed as yet. Please
Yeah.
remember to hit on that subscribe button as well. And a point to remember for you: tonight's episode is brought to you by Size Kids Boutique. Check her out on Instagram. She also has another business that is Size One Stop Shop for all of your products, your body washes, your oils, your spices, your deodorants. For those, check out Size One Stop Shop, and you can reach and make contact there on Instagram. So, going back to Father Sin, who is giving us some education tonight. I know that tonight some of you is gonna wanna check out the Jamaica Stock Exchange, because here's the thing. One thing I have learned is this: you will save, you will save to take yourself from lower class to middle class. However, if you want to move from middle class to upper class, you have to invest. Saving can only take you so far. The rest of the way, you have to start to invest. Invest in yourself, invest in your future. Start to build that generational wealth. And this is just one of the ways you can definitely do that. So I'm going to hand back over again to our presenter tonight, and we are going to be here and we're going to be taking in the knowledge, and we're going to do additional research on ourselves. We're going to reach out to people who may have more information about this than us, and we're going to start to build that generational wealth. That is the aim of when we speak of Money Matters. And Money Matters is going to be every Sunday night here on Mr. Namad's channel. We're going to be speaking about making money. Young men, go out there and make your money. Make something of yourself. We're moving over again, as I mentioned, to our presenter. Go ahead, sir.
Oh yeah, man. And sorry, you remember earlier when I spoke about the invitation, the opening date for applications,
Yes.
and about a minute or a second after it closes, if on page 3 down here, it says right here, it says that the invitation will open at 9 a.m. on the 25th day of February 2021, right? Which is the opening day, and will close at 4 p.m. on the 3rd of May, March 2021, right? However, it says subject to the right of the company in consultation with the lead arranger or the broker, right? They can close the invitation or the invitation for shares to the public at any time after it opens on the opening date if applications have been received for the full amount of the shares. So what have happened is that persons would have already started applying before it's open, right? Through their broker, right?
Okay.
And the amount of application that would have been received up until the opening date, they would have been tabulating that, and they would realize that, hey, we already have enough money, so they can decide that we're not going to keep um this invitation open any longer, and we're just going to go ahead and just close it after a minute because we already have enough money there.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, man. And also one of your questions, right? It says, remember, it says if, however, the company does not raise at least 400 million. Here it says 400 million, 400,
Yes.
yeah, 400 million within 40 days after the date of this prospectus, it will not make an application to get the share listed on the junior market or the stock exchange, right?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, man. So it's basically saying that if after they've closed the application and they haven't received enough offers, it doesn't total 400 million, that they're not going to bother with listing the company's shares on the stock exchange, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and it also says here that for this particular IPO, they were using NCB as the lead broker, right? And person had to apply through NCB's Go IPO platform, right? And I also found a YouTube video about NCB's Go IPO. The
Yes.
application process is pretty easy,
Yeah.
especially if you already have an NCB online account.
Yeah.
So I'm just
But
gonna go. I'm
but
sorry, go ahead.
however, you know,
Mm,
when we're speaking about Go IPO,
mm,
if you have an investment account with um
mm,
NCB, if you
mm.
have a capital markets account with NCB, you actually do not have to create a Go IPO account. You know, you can
That
buy it directly there from the capital markets account.
that's correct. That is correct.
Because
That,
the last time I went in branch,
mm,
I wanted to clarify. I just wanted to I was having a bit of challenge because my capital markets account is from way back,
yeah.
you know, from years. So
Mm,
there was some glitch in it, and I wanted it to be updated.
yeah.
So I was considering getting a Go IPO account, but after
Mm,
going in branch and having discussions
yeah.
with the with one of the financial advisors,
Mm,
they mentioned that you actually do not need Go IPO if you already have a capital markets account.
yes, that's
You
correct.
know, but however, Go IPO is really good, and I have observed as well that they have now created a new app specifically for the capital markets.
Yeah.
You know, this I think this was released sometime this year, early this year.
Yeah,
So
man.
you can basically, you know, it makes it even easier for you to get access to the shares that you would, the companies that you would like to have access to. So I think they're making it really, really easy for people to go into um to investing, because so many people have realized now that investing is the way to go.
Let me tell you,
You
man.
know,
Let me tell you, I'm sure how far the people that come from there, man. Zine, I remember like back in 2015, 2016, when I go apply for company IPO, you have to go in branch and fill out paper, brother. So them the time there, it wasn't something that was being done online. There was no say you have to go find time off, you go left your work or leave where you are and go in branch to go apply, and that wasn't the easy thing at all because I know say yo, when you come to bank, man, the long lines and all of those stuff.
exactly,
Yeah, man.
exactly.
So I'm just gonna play this video for those persons who wouldn't have had an NCB Capital Markets account and only have an NCB online
All right.
account.
So here's what you should do. Put the link in the back chat.
Mhm.
Put the link in the back chat, and I'll put it in my, because I you know, YouTube can be finicky sometimes when it speaks to you know, viewing other people's content on your platform.
Okay.
So yeah, man,
Yeah.
they can be finicky like that.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So we spoke about how to invest. We're looking into one of the newest listings called Fesco. And for
Yeah.
those of us who haven't seen Fesco, because personally, I can't recall seeing it on any gas stations per se, whereas, you know, we would normally see the regular ones,
Yeah.
the totals and all of those. I don't know if anybody in the chat is aware of where there's a Fesco gas station. Put it in the link.
And
Let's check it out.
here's what I want persons to say. Fesco branded gas station because to date, Fesco only owns one gas station. Most of
Oh,
them, yeah, based on what they're showing in the prospectus here.
okay. So
Because
does that mean that they're a relatively new company to the gas station market, for want of a better term?
uh, uh not necessarily, it could be that that's their business model and that's how they want to. That's how they see
Okay.
themselves making money, right? And the best way for them to operate where they don't want to, like for example, if it is that they're not the ones running the gas station, that means that guess what? They leave that up to someone else to do it and take on that responsibility where they'll just be like a partner in it, but not the majority owner. But at the end of the day, they know that hey, I'm getting a share at the company's profits, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So let me just go go further down, right, and talk up because there are some key dates that persons would need to know, right? Like for example, let me show you where it is. Some key dates that are here. And for example, let me just before I go to that. So here's some information that I wanted to put some more context to, right? They had said that the company has shareholders that are selling 200 million shares. So these are the shareholders that are selling uh, their shares, right?
Okay.
You have Trevor Barnes, Hugh Core, Lyndon D. Haven, Errol McGaw, Junior Williams, and Never Allen, right?
Okay, so just before you go any further, let
Mm,
me put it there now. Okay, so since they have mentioned the names of
mm,
these people who are selling the shares,
mm.
if you want to buy the shares that these persons are offering, how do you go about getting those shares?
All right. So what happened is that those persons are actually selling their shares through the IPO also. So the company is selling their shares on their behalf actually.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. So it's a combined pool of shares basically. The new shares that the company is creating, the 300 million plus the 200 million that some of the existing shareholders are selling.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And one of the most important things that person should be aware of is the minimum amount that you're required to purchase.
Okay. So at 80 cents per share, you
Mm.
have to buy at least 1,000 shares in the
Yeah.
company for them to basically look at your application.
Yeah, for it to be valid actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. I hope you guys in the chat are taking note. I
Yeah.
hope you guys in the chat are taking note because guys, as I mentioned before, this is the way of the future. This is the way of the future. Some of the things we are going to go into over the weeks and over the Sunday, the cast that we'll be doing on a Sunday every week. We're going to be speaking into diversifying your portfolio, different type of shares that you want to, because there are so many different ways to invest. There are so many different ways to invest, and this is the way to put your money to work for you. Because guys, I have another gem for you. The days when you can work and save your money to increase your living standard or get rich, for want of a better term, those days have gone from maybe the 70s or the 80s. No, money has to work for money. You have to start that foundation and put your money to work. The money is living in the bank is not doing anything for you because the interest you get from the bank at the end of a year does not outperform inflation. Inflation is always going to beat your interest rate inside of the bank. So putting your money in the bank is a losing effort. The money is not working. This is one of the ways that you can put your money to work so you can sit back 12 o'clock in the night when you're fast asleep, your money out there working. 3 o'clock in the morning when you don't wake up yet, your money out there working. You have to turn the money in a slave. That is how you build on your wealth and you teach your kids about these things so they can build more on it as well. Back over to the presenter, so.
Yeah, man. So just to recap some of the things that we covered, like for example, the opening date when it opens, the closing date, the minimum amount of shares you have to purchase or apply for, the share price that is being the shares are being offered for, and the amount of money our company intends to raise, and the amount of shares they're offering to the public. Those are very important, right? And there's a small section here that speaks to the use of proceeds, which is what the company intends to do with the money, but this is just a summary, right?
Okay.
But what I want persons to what I also want persons to look at is this section here called basis of allotment, right, Damien? It's,
Okay.
it's basically saying how shares would be divided amongst the applicants, right? So it says the shares will be allocated in a first come first serve basis, right? That's what it says, But it says
Okay.
if, look at this word, it says if, right? It says if the invitation is oversubscribed. You know what oversubscribed means?
I mean, too many people have applied for the shares.
Yeah, it means more persons that have applied. So it means more applications than the amount they're currently offering.
Okay.
Yes, so it says shares would be allocated on a first come first served basis. So for example, if it wasn't oversubscribed, then persons would, the amount that you have applied for, they would allocate that based on a first come first served basis, right? But it
Okay.
says if the invitation is oversubscribed, the company reserves the right to allot shares to the applicants on a basis to be determined by it in its sole discretion,
I,
including a pro rata basis. The word
I
pro
see.
rata,
I see where you're going with that. You know, I see
yeah,
where you're going with that. So this is one of the instruments that they use, and I am going to assume that pro rata means increased rate.
no, that's a very good question. Pro rata actually means proportional. So they're going to
Okay.
distribute it proportionally, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
yes, and I'm going to show you what the so this company's application was oversubscribed, right? And I'm going to show you what method they used in order to proportionally distribute shares. Because they have to use an equitable, they have to try to distribute it equitably, right? So
Okay.
equally, yeah. So let me give you an example. Before I show you that, let me show you some other key information. It says multiple applications by the same applicants may be treated as a single application for the purpose of allocation or allotment. So what that means is that you have as a rule of thumb, a lot of persons out there have more than accounts with more than one brokers, right?
Oh.
Yes. So for example, I have an account. I have a JMB is also my broker, and NC I have an NCB Capital Markets account, right? So if I should decide that I'm going to apply to say I'm going to try to beat the system and I'm going to apply using two different accounts because they have two different account number with which my broker, right? And hope that I can get more, right?
Yeah.
They will know that um these are coming from the same persons and they're saying multiple applications by the same applicants may be treated as a single application for the purpose of allocation or allotment. And they say for this purpose, applicants will be regarded as being the same, whether it's the same individual or corporate applicant, or in the case of joint applicant. So I have an account I have a joint account, and I also with JMB, and I also have one for myself.
Okay.
So if I should decide that hey, I'm going to apply
Give yourself a better chance of getting as much
more,
as possible.
yeah, they all know. They say,
When I go say beat the system, give
yeah,
you want to increase your chances of getting the number to reach the number that your predetermined number that you wanted to get to. For
yeah,
example, I thought for example a million then for
yeah. For
okay.
for example, a person might be an employee at Fesco, right? And they might decide that I am going to apply um to the employee pool, and I'm also going to apply from the general public pool. But they'll still treat it as one application, man.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, and moving on further down, you have expected timetable of events, right? So they said that the invitation opens on the 25th, right? The invitation closes on the 3rd of March, right? They'll still acknowledge that date, because they're going to use that date further down. You'll see. So, so even though, so this is their closing date, So even though they might close it 1 minute or 1 second after opening it, they will announce the basis of allotment 6 days after the closing date. So it's not 6 days after the first day when they close it. 'Cause so they closed it on the 25th of February, right? But that's not the closing date that they have in the prospectus. They acknowledge that the closing date is going to be March 3rd. So within 6 days after March 3rd, that's when they'll announce the basis of allotment, like how the shares will be allotted. And I have a link here, which I'm going to pull up so that person will have seen the basis of allotment for the shares, right? So let's say that both you and I applied, Damien. Both you and I applied for the company shares, right? But in the general public pool, bigger 1 second, battery actually.
All right. So while our presenter gets his battery, get his charger for his laptop, I am going to go ahead and remind you once more that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Size One Stop Shop, where you can get all of those items that you need, your hygiene items, your body washes, your deodorants. Check her out. She is on Instagram at Sahira's underscore one stop shop. You can also reach out to her at 876 541 4697. If she doesn't have it, she will source it for you. And just to remind you just how much of an entrepreneur she has another business. It is called Size Boutique. So if you have young kids and you need clothing and all of those things that your kids need, check her out on Instagram. It is size kids boutique on Instagram for your kids' needs. Check her out. And thank you so much for your support, Size Kids Boutique. And while we see that our presenter now has found his charger, and he is ready to get go again for the last 5 minutes of the stream. Because here's the thing, tonight has been really, really interesting. And I know we are going to have to continue this series. So I am saying to all of the people in the chat, check us out next week at the same time when we will continue to teach you about money. We will continue to teach you about money, how to build generational wealth. So we're not living from paycheck to paycheck anymore. That is the goal of that is what we want. This is what we want everyone to be able to do for 2022, for 2023, and moving forward. Better life for everybody, strength, and send that money to work because it's hard out there, you know, working for 7, 8 hours per day. It's hard out there. So therefore, send the money to work 24/7s for you. Let's get back into the final minutes of the presentation. Let's go.
Yeah, man. So what happened in Damien is, this is, so you and I would have applied as we're from the general public, so it would apply to the general public pool, right? It says here that subscribers to the general public pool will receive up to 1,000 shares, right?
Okay.
Which is the minimum amount plus a proportional allocation of approximately 43.8762%, right? So let me give you an example. Let me take out my calculator and give you a calculation. So if you look on my screen, you'll see a calculator here. So if
Okay.
I had a $50,000, right, Damien, and I decided to invest that $50,000, what would happen is that I would have gotten 1,000, right? So it's $1 per share, 80 cents per share actually. So that would be 500,000. No, not 500,000. 50,000 minus 800. That would have left 49,200, and they're going to give me 43.87. Hold on. 438762. So I would have gotten, they're going to give me 21,587 plus the 800 that I applied for. So in total, I'm only getting 22,387. Right?
Okay. So what you're saying just now, what you just explained is that the initial 1,000 shares were bought for the $8,
Mhm.
for 8 cents. Sorry. However,
Mhm.
after that amount is exhausted,
Yeah.
the there's an increase. in the amount that you're going to pay for the rest of the shares. Is that what I'm getting?
I'm sorry. Not that, man. Let me tell you what happened. What they say that you pay for it in the application, that's what you pay, which is the 80 cents.
Okay.
So what that means is that because there's a very large they get more demand than what they're offering, they have to find a proportional way to distribute the amount of shares, right?
Okay.
So if you decide that, hey, you want to invest $50,000, right? They're going to give you the minimum of 1,000 shares, right? Which is 80 cents, right?
Okay.
Times 1,000, right? Hold on. 80 cents times 1,000, which is $800, right?
Okay.
So we put that down on a sticky note right here, right across here. So that means $800. So 50,000 that we have initially invested minus that $800, which is for that 1,000 units, you're left with 49,200, right?
Okay.
So you're left with 49,200. No, they're saying that they're going to give you. Let's move this over a little bit. They're going to give you of that remaining amount. They're going to give you. Hold on, let me make a correction. You're not applying for 50. You're not investing $50,000. You're applying for 50,000 shares,
1,000
right?
shares. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So it's
Great.
50,000. So it's 50,000 times 80 cents, right? Which is $40,000 basically.
Okay.
Yes, and you
So
will
that will
accrue.
be, that will be 40,000 shares.
Yeah, that's yes.
Okay. Great.
All right, and they're saying that they're going to give you the first. They're going to give you the first 1,000 shares, right? So that would leave you needing 39,000 more, right?
Okay. And the 39,000 would be at a different cost.
Still 80 cents, man. What would happen though is that they're going to give you a portion of it instead of the full amount.
Okay. Okay.
So they're
Now I get
saying
you.
they're only going to give you 43.8762% of the amount, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're saying you need 30,000 more in order to get that 50,000 in order to get that 40,000 shares, right? So what would happen is that you're going to get 9 times 43.8762%. So yeah, so you're basically going to get 17,111 shares plus that 800, right?
Okay. Okay.
For a grand total of 17,911.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So just to recap, Damien, right? You applied for yes,
You applied for 50,000 shares.
yeah, which is $40,000, right?
Yes.
You only got 1,000 units, and they're going to give you 43.8762% of the excess amount, which is the amount that's left, right?
Okay. Okay.
So you didn't get the full allotment because it's oversubscribed, but they have to find a proportional way in order to distribute uh, the amount.
Okay. Okay. So basically what they saying is that you will get the initial amount that everybody is allowed to get, which is 1,000 shares.
Yeah,
However, you wanted 50,000, but
yeah,
based on the fact that it has been oversubscribed, you
yeah.
can only now get 43.876% of what you actually wanted.
Plus
In
the pro-
addition, plus the
yeah,
1,000 that you were able to buy straight out.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful.
And
So this is basically their way of spreading it out so as many people as possible can take advantage of it.
yeah, because I remember, different persons these different persons are investing different amount of monies. But then have
Yes,
to have a
yes.
proportional way to distribute it, So
Okay.
someone that who would have invested more money than you would have gotten more shares.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, it's a percentage,
Yeah.
so therefore. All right. Final question
Mm.
before we close out.
Mhm.
Are IPOs a viable investment option?
Yeah, yeah, man, definitely. I remember, you're investing in a company for the first time, right?
Okay.
And you are part owner into that said company. So definitely. And what happening is that for some persons, you have to determine like what is your goal when you're investing into this IPO. Is it that you hear say your friend buying into a company's IPO last week or last month and they double their money? They invested $50,000 a year, so your friend make 100 grand on it, or $50,000 more on 50 grand? Or is it that, hey, you heard about this company, you know about it, right? You think it's a good company and you want to buy some shares into it through the IPO and hold it for 5 years?
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I asked the question
Mhm.
is it would it be correct if I said
Mhm.
the vast majority of companies, the the IPO, when they initially go public, the price that they sell their shares for,
Mhm.
as the years go, the share prices become higher. So
Yeah, man.
therefore, this is how you compound on your interest and on your money.
Yeah, man. So generally, not in all cases, no, but majority.
Majority of the cases, yes.
Yeah, because I've seen cases where, like, for example, the price where the company um IPO that the price fell below the IPO price and it hasn't recovered as yet. Like, for example, one of those said companies, a company called G West, that's in Montego Bay.
Oh, GWS?
Yes, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man. It IPO'd about, I think, $2, and it hasn't, since it fell below $2. I don't think it has reached that level as yet.
Okay, okay. So basically, an investment is still a risk because you're investing on the premise that the company will realize the benefits and the profits that they are seeing based on their numbers. So you are banking on these companies performing well, increasing the value of their share prices start to increase. So in 5 years, the shares that you bought for 80 cents are now being sold for $2, $3.
As a matter of fact, let me tell you a story about Fesco. So Fesco would have IPO, let me tell you, on the, let me see if I can find it. About a year ago, in 2021, February 25th, 2021, at 80 cents per share, and
Okay.
Fesco is trading at around $6 right now.
So perfect. So
So think about it now, Damien. Let me do the calculation, right? So $6, right? Right? Minus 80 cents. I'm going to do a calculation to tell you the return, right? I'm going to do it off screen.
so basically, what I'm getting is at 80 cents per share, and within a year, that 80 cent has become $6. Just run it off to $6. So let's run it off using whole numbers. IPO at $1. Within a year, the share
80 cents.
prices have gone to no, I'm
80,
just running. Yeah, I'm just
oh,
trying to use whole numbers, running
okay,
it
okay,
off.
okay, yeah.
So we have started at $1, and within a year, that dollar has made you $5. So to use layman's terms, if you had bought into Fesco, when the share price was $1 at the IPO, and you had invested $500,000, your $500,000 would now have turned into, can you do the maths for me, sir?
All right.
Your, your $500,000 would now would have now become $3 million.
Yeah, so hypothetically, if someone had managed to get $500,000 worth of shares, yeah, man, it would have been worth $3 billion.
Exactly. Now we're going into Bitcoin. We're going into Bitcoin wages now.
Yeah, man.
You know.
And a little bit of context to it though. Um, not all IPOs are the same, right? And not all companies are the same. It just happens that Jesco is doing quite well in terms of how the management is running the company and the amount of profit that they're making and how well the business is doing. So the market will consider that, hey, this company is one for the future now, and they're making a lot of money. So we believe that we believe that the market is saying that, hey, I'm willing to buy this company share price for $6.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just for context, if you had put that $500,000 into a savings account
Hmm.
for a year,
Yeah.
you would have gotten a grand total of maybe about $2,000 on your $500,000.
If if so much.
You would have gotten a grand total, and I'm just trying to use whole numbers
You're being
you
optimistic, man. You're probably gonna get all one $200 for it, man.
on your $500,000.
Yeah.
All right. So your money is languishing in the bank in your savings accounts.
Yeah, man, and the
Your money
value.
is languishing, and when you check into it and to say, okay, fine, you're
Mm.
getting a return of on your money in the bank, you're getting a return of 0.0025%, for example. The
And the,
inflation rate now is about 7%.
yeah, so the value of your money, the money is losing
So
value.
so your money has lost value. And I think understanding inflation is also one of the topics we're going to need to discuss in a future podcast. So we understand what happens to your money and why you want to invest in something that can give you a better return than inflation. Because if you're not getting a higher return than inflation, then your money is losing value.
Yeah, it
And
is. It
that
is.
is the opposite of what we want our money to do.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, with that being said, sir, I am going to actually close it off here for tonight. And I'm going to say one more time, guys, as you check into the chat, please click on that like button. If you have not subscribed as yet, please do so. Go ahead and subscribe if you like the content that we are putting out. You can look forward for us on Sunday nights when we will be having conversations of this kind where you can learn something and the takeaway I want from everyone is this. The takeaway I want is go out, do your own research, seek assistance from professionals who can guide you better. Because we do not want to send you out there to, hear this and say it sounds good, so you go and make bad investments. We want you to make good investments so you can realize what we all want for ourselves:
I want to,
financial security and financial stability.
yeah, man, and I also want to add something to it, Damon, right? You see, because investing is becoming so popular in Jamaica, especially among young persons, if someone should actually hear about a company's IPO and go on YouTube and type in, like for example, Edufocal's IPO, right? And there was a company that was listed out that same week called Jamaica Fiberglass Products. They should actually go to YouTube and type in JFP or Jamaica Fiberglass Products IPO. You will find about two or three different videos or even more from different persons who are either inviting persons who are investment advisors or they are persons who are investors themselves or are even certified and they're giving you a breakdown, right? So if you don't have
Yes,
the time,
yes.
so if you don't have the time to read through all that information, right, or you don't have someone who you know you can immediately ask about giving you the details or giving you a professional opinion, right?
Yes,
Or
and I'm going to do a call out here. One person that I have been learning a lot from is her name is Anna Palomino.
mhm.
Anna Palomino. She has a YouTube channel. You can
Yeah,
go and check her out. I have been watching her content for some time, and I think she has some great financial advice to give. So it's Anna Palomino on YouTube. You can check her out. She does really good content. She lives the life of an investor.
yeah, man.
One of the things I really admire about her, what she's saying is that just about every habit she has a portfolio that handles it. She speaks about loving Starbucks, and she has an account that buys her Starbucks.
Yeah.
So this is a mindset we want to get people in. Go out there, because here's the thing: after a certain age, you do not want to be go there and you do not want to be going out there and working. After you have gotten to a certain age, you want to be able to relax and enjoy your life. You do not want to be 60 and 70 years old and still have to be going out there and slaving 8 hours, 12 hours per day. You want to be able to spend time with your family when you have gone to that age. So this is why you want to put in the work now, so it will pay off for you later. It will pay off by giving you something that is, the payout will be, you will get something that is irreplaceable. You will get time with family. So this is where you want to lay the groundwork. You want to think about how you want to manage, how you want to become better in a financial way. All right. So, with that being said, I want to thank my presenter tonight. And if you like the content, check me out tomorrow night. I'm sorry, check me out next week at the same time, when we will be speaking on money matters. All right. If you have not clicked on the subscribe button, please consider clicking on the subscribe button, and let's go from there. And one more time, I will make one final shout out to my sponsor for tonight. My sponsor for tonight is Size Kids Boutique, and she is on Instagram for kids apparel and clothing, and also Size One Stop Shop for all your bath and body works, all your deodorants, all your body washes, and all of these items that you want to use to feel good. All right. Thank you so much for joining in. All of the guys who were in the chat, thank you so much. Next week, I want you to invite a friend. Invite a friend to come with you next week, where we learn money. We talk about money. That is what we want. Everybody want to get that money. Ladies like to say they want to get that bag. It's all about being financially independent. So we don't want to be living from paycheck to paycheck anymore. That is so 70s. Time for we step up now. We want to have something that, if you're not working for 6 months, you can still maintain the lifestyle that you have while you were working. So, thank you so much for coming in, Father, and have yourself a wonderful night, everyone who took the time out. I really appreciate you lending me your ears and lending me your time. If you appreciate the content, please consider subscribing. Click on the like button if you have not done so far on your way out, and check me out next week again. Thank you so much for coming in. Money Matters, episode 1. That is the end of my first broadcast.